The French President, Emmanuel Macron, will be in Cameroon from the 25th to the 27th of July 2020, according to the information that was made known to the public by the Director of Civil Cabinet, Mr. Ayolo. And this information made known to the public indicates that Mr. Emmanuel Macron will have a visit to the presidency of the Republic. He will be meeting with President Paul Biya, who invited the French president to come to Cameroon. But the visit of the French president to Cameroon has brought in mixed feelings among Cameroonians who are politically and economically divided about this said visit. Some have the opinion that President Emmanuel Macron is coming to beg on behalf of his nation and to re-establish economic ties with Cameroon, owing to the fact that there is a growing anti-French tendencies across former French colonies in Africa. To begin with, the Malian government has totally cut ties with the French government. That is, the French National Broadcast Service is no longer broadcasting in Mali. Also, military accord between the French government and the Malian government has come to an end. The Malian government also deported the French ambassador away from Mali, and also economic tendencies or ties within the French and Malian government has been cut, and the Malian government has established a good network with the Russian government, with the warmonger group which is trying to maintain the stability of Mali, a void created by the French troops as some of them left Mali. And also in Equatorial Guinea, there has been a growing tendency of anti-French support, anti-French government within Equatorial Guinea. Gabon also is following suit. In Chad, we also saw hundreds of protesters also demonstrating against the French government. And also in the Central African Republic, hundreds of protesters took to the street to show their support for the Russian government following the Russian-led invasion, and also calling for the French government to quit their country. Coming back to Cameroon, it is clear that Bolare is out of the National Port Authority in Douala, and also there are several business ties that the French government has not been able to attain or to have as far as the French-Cameroon relationship is concerned. There have been several visits of the French ambassador to the Unity Palace, yet there have not been fruitful results as far as re-establishing ties within the French government is concerned. But the invitation of Emmanuel Macron to the Unity Palace has brought in mixed feeling, as some are also saying from the political perspective that it is a moment where both heads of state are going to look at political transition in Cameroon. Some have called it an arrangement for the person that will take over within the Republic in case President Biya is no longer there. Others are saying that President Emmanuel Macron is coming to indicate that the French government still have a firm grip in Cameroon. Regardless of however you put it, the visit of the French President Emmanuel Macron in Cameroon still have a lot to develop or a lot to discover as far as a 2 days visit is concerned. How fast should we be? Should Cameroonians be excited with the French president's visit to Cameroon? And also, how constitutional is it for the French president to actually talk with opposition parties in Cameroon? Can this happen in France, where President Biya will go and want to have meetings with opposition parties in French? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. Thanks for joining us. Happy Sunday to all those of you who are viewing us from different parts of the world, and especially to the peace-loving people of the Northwest, the Southwest region, call it the Anglophone region, West Cameroon, or regardless of which political ideology you stand. And also happy Sunday to the peace-loving people of the other 8 regions of Cameroon, watching us from the littoral, far north, center, and also west, and also the east region, the south, All those of you watching us from the Grand North, we want to say happy Sunday to you. Those of you watching us on Facebook, we want to really appreciate you because it is not easy to actually follow a program on Facebook. And all those of you watching us out of Cameroon, we want to say happy Sunday to you. If you want to be a member of this panel, you can indicate to me on the numbers on your screen, write me on WhatsApp, and I'll put you into the general WhatsApp group in case there's a topic that you have to discuss. We have to discuss. You show your interest and you'll be part of the topic. Today's edition, we are looking at should Cameroonians be excited with the visit of Emmanuel Macron and indeed constitutional to meet opposition leaders within the country. Can President Biya actually go to France and ask to meet opposition leaders to discuss about French issues in France? Of course, that is a topic which we shall be looking at today. On today's program, we have Professor Innocent. A happy Sunday, Prof. And of course, we want to really appreciate you for coming to talk to Cameroonians.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis. I would like to extend my greetings to the entire public, those who are listening to us. And I say happy Sunday once more. Thank you.
Happy Sunday to you, Prof. Of course, we have also Nick Anu. Nick Anu, thanks for joining us and a happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday to you, Tah Mai Jarvis. Happy Sunday to fellow Cameroonians watching us from all over the globe, and a special happy Sunday to the people of Fontem and watching us at this moment.
I say peace has returned to Fontem.
Somehow.
How true is that assertion? Means that Field Marshal was very powerful.
Of course, he resisted for all this number of years, and the jubilation of his death shows that he was kind of powerful, as we can say.
Field Marshal is not a dragon.
Thank you also.
It's an individual.
Yeah, we are also with Song DERICK. Song DERICK, happy Sunday to you and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tah Mai Jarvis, for the trust once again. Greetings to the million viewers of House of Common, the program that gives the common man the voice to speak. I want to use this very opportunity to give special greeting to Dr. Ndimancho, the founder of New Era Youth for Africa, and co-founder Ndium Emmanuel, for the wonderful job they are doing in order to build Africa. People who believe that Africa belongs to Africans and must be built by Africans. Thank you very much, Jarvis, for the confidence. I pray that we're going to have a wonderful and fruitful discussions with Professor and our brother Nick to educate Cameroonians about pertinent issues.
Thank you very much. Also, I want to say thank you to all those of you watching us on Facebook and those who have indicated that they want to be part of the program. Professor, I begin with you. I want us to go deep into the topic of today. The French President, Emmanuel Macron, will be visiting Cameroon on the 25th to the 27th of July, according to the information being known by the Civil Cabinet, Director of the Civil Cabinet at the Presidency of the Republic. First of all, what do you make of this visit?
Well, to a certain extent, it sounds like something that is positive, and then to a certain extent, it sounds like something which can be very negative. French president being invited by the Cameroon government to come to Cameroon. It looks somehow surprising, because to me, I look at the country where we do not have roads, we do not have water supply, we do not have good educational infrastructure, hospitals, and the like, and we are spending billions of taxpayers' money to invite a French president to our country. Could it not have been the other way around? So that is actually my worry, Mr. Tah Jarvis.
So you have that worry. Yes. And now, let me stay with you briefly. Should we be excited that Emmanuel Macron, because a lot of newspapers and public opinion who's that he's coming, they will talk about the Anglophone crisis, they'll talk about political transition, but that's not the case as of what the Civil Cabinet sent out as press kit.
Well, before the visit, one cannot say anything about that. One might be expecting, but one will only be excited to see the outcome of the visit. But then we don't know exactly who would this president is going to meet. Because if there was going to be a kind of dialogue again between the Anglophones and the French president, that would be something positive. I don't know exactly who are going to, the people with whom he's going to dialogue. Because we would have been talking of those that are under detention, for example. Are you going to have a talk with the French president? Who are those that are going to have a talk with this French president? If the people that are going to be handpicked by the current regime, and then we say, do like this, do like that, say like this, say like that, then I think that the visit is not actually going to be of any help to our nation.
Thank you very much. Continue with you, Nick Anu. Nick Anu, there is a lot of anxiety as far as this visit is concerned. But first, your opinion when this visit was announced.
Yeah, when I felt about the visit of the French president, I heard about it about 2 weeks ago, when the official communique was not even yet out. I also had a lot of mixed feeling concerning the visit of the French president. But to me, his visit is just like a normal state visit to me. Even though there may be the kind of things that we discuss which are pertinent will not really be known to the media and to the common man, which we know. We know the interest of the French in Cameroon and in the whole of Africa at large is at stake, and the French president in his first mandate, Macron in his first mandate saw this French-African relation really being drilled to the ground, and then his last mandate is trying to kind of rebuild that relationship. And I think his visit in Cameroon will be, to me, just about two ties or two dimensions. It will just be political and the economy. To me, that will be the bone or the primary focus of his visit to Cameroon. He's going to come to negotiate the French interest in Cameroon, but we would have loved to see his visit to be a more open visit. Because we know the crisis we are being faced in the northwest or in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon, to an extent, is being blocked. The peace or the true dialogue is being blocked by the French. There's no gainsaying in that, but all of us know that the French are really behind that, not us not having a true dialogue to end the crisis in the Anglophone region because of their interest in those particular two regions, being backed by the historical ties of the French and those two regions. We don't want to go into the historical analysis of that, but we will have seen the visit of Macron as a jubilation if that was kind of mentioned as a cardinal point of his visit. Apart from that, I don't see any interest. I don't see any jubilation or being happy about his visit to Cameroon.
DERICK, Cameroon is inviting the French president. Of course, that will be heavy on Cameroon because he's not traveling alone. He's traveling with the military, with his own secret service. He's traveling with his Tah Mai Jarvis and intend to rush to spend 2 days in Cameroon. Who fought the bills? Looking at the fact that we are facing difficulties in terms of the economic standard of Cameroon.
Thank you very much, Jarvis, for that wonderful question. You will bear with me that we have very blind politicians in Africa, and Cameroon not being left out because it's part of Africa. And you will believe with me that it is a level where the taxpayers are going to be stretched to another end in order to foot the bills. We have seen circulations on social media of CPDM, YCPDM, whatever CPDM, raising huge money to welcome the French president. But we cannot see them raise that same money to build hospitals for people who are dying. It is appalling to think that we prepare ourselves so well until communiques and delegates, DOs, SDOs are signing communiques asking people to prepare to receive the slave master. It is funny.
Oh, it says slave master. What do you mean?
Jarvis, I should not be the one announcing to you that where Africa is today and where Cameroon is today is because we have been bottled by France. And a man who has been killing us from a distance, we are gathering to celebrate him, coming right close to kill us from within.
He's visiting a sovereign nation.
Jarvis, I think, okay, if you want me to, I didn't want to really go, no, yes, I didn't really want to go into the details. He is visiting a sovereign nation.
Yes.
A sovereign nation where the president of a sovereign nation will hold a monologue in Yaoundé concerning a particular region of the country. A monologue, please, don't put words into my mouth. And then, instead of taking the report card to report to the people who are dying, who are suffering, or for which the monologue was held to talk about, he goes to France and then sits in front of the president to tell you, I've brought the report, I have come to give you accounts. Accounts to who? It means that the president of the republic is not accountable to Cameroonians. He is accountable to France. And therefore, we can go by induction that the president of the republic is a president for Cameroonians here, but he's a governor to France. Since most of French colonies are like provinces in France. So he therefore just did the right thing to go back to France to give a balance sheet that, sir, you had appointed me to lead those people, and this is what we have talked about their fate. That is why they give the report card. So you cannot talk about the sovereignty of a nation that has no decision.
Ah, but we have decision. Now, why can you say that we have no decision when it was the head of state who decided to organize the Grand Measure National Dialogue?
No. Jarvis, I think you want us to go point by point. Do you know that it was after an activist, I've forgotten his name, in France, an activist in France who cried out that my people are suffering. My people are suffering, that the president of France said he has given strong instructions to Mr. Biya to release Kamto. Yes. Do you know that it was a protest of a citizen, that a 39 years old boy gives instruction to an 89-year president?
That was debunked. Now that was he said that was wrongly interpreted.
No, it was that instruction was given. I'm just telling you that Cameroon has no control over, in fact, the president of Cameroon has no control over the presidency. You are talking about the president's coming at a time where the prices of commodities, of goods and services are skyrocketing. We are facing inflation and we will soon run into a stagflation. The president has never come out to address the citizens that I have realized, I have noticed that your living conditions, your standards of living are not good. But they are mobilizing people to gather around and raising funds to welcome the slave masters.
There's a branch in Yaoundé that have reached 10 million.
Of course, that's how Cameroon is. They should raise it to welcome the slave masters to come and put us into more slavery.
Now. Cameroon, of course, Cameroon and France enjoy bilateral relationship. Professor Innocent, do you know that the last census that was conducted in Cameroon, that was between the period of I think 2008 or 2005 or so till 2005. Between till date, we have not had official information as to the number of persons dying in Cameroon. Yeah. But shockingly, with the visit of the French president, the director of civil cabinet released a press kit, and in the press kit, it states that Cameroon has a total population size of over 27 million people, that we have a population size of over 27 million people based on that statistics released by the director of civil cabinet. But why did it take so long for us to have this kind of information that the population of Cameroon has, of course, increased to 27.2 million people?
Well, probably because of...
Who kept the census result?
Well, probably because of some statistical results. We know that in Cameroon, it is actually very difficult to have something which is very accurate. I want to tell you, because sometimes I go carry research in a certain village called Macron, and also in Bokoso, in the southwest region there. And they told me results, they have to change the population of a village because they want a political party to win an election. I think you see that. Because even as of now, we do not even know
whether what we even have is accurate.
Exactly, whether it's accurate. It is based on what? Who carried out this kind of who carried out this kind of census in our country? We do not know. But that's all I can say.
Because, Prof, how do you explain the fact that as of the time the census was carried out, it was rumored that it was established that Cameroon was close to about 80 million people. But now we're talking about 27.2 million people. And it only takes a visit of the French president to have these statistics.
Well, it's purely political. And I cannot say anything more than that. If I'm saying anything more than that, which I've not investigated, then it defeats the purpose.
Okay. Now, briefly, to continue with you, at the time when prices have increased, we're having the visit. It was established that the Cameroon government invited the French president, which means that we fought the bills.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But it is really provocative, you know, for our government to be the one inviting a French president to this nation. You know, long ago, Cameroonians went on a strike because of the fact that they had a draconian salary cut. Since that time to date, these salaries have not been reinstated. But today we are having some kind of negative economic parameters that are further taking down the living conditions of Cameroonians. Of course, you have already put it, the price of goods and services in our markets are skyrocketing. Government is not taking that one as a priority to solve that particular problem, and then also solve the problem that has to do with this insecurity in the northern and southwest regions. But they take priority being the invitation of a French president to this country, which is going to cost billions of CFA. Like I said earlier, we have poor roads in this country. We do not have potable water supply in this country. If you move well from here, from the central region to the north, to the northwest, to some of those very, very enclaved areas, you will have to cry. Government is not reaching out to its people, but they are reaching out to the French people. So we are asking ourselves now, is this government saving the French government, or are they saving the Cameroonian people? That's a very pertinent question.
But the government says they are saving the Cameroonian people because if you see what has been done so far, the president of the...
Let me tell you, Mr. Jarvis, there's one thing which you see in the pipeline. Not even the pipeline, which is still a social problem. Do you know that primary school teachers up to date, they've been teaching for about 4 years without salaries? But we have money to invite a French president. We're talking about billions. It might not be just a billion, but 2, 3, 4, or 5 billions that are going to be spent. So my worry is, why do we so much pay much interest to a foreign government than our own citizens? Do we hate our own people?
Okay, Prof. To continue with the press kit that was released by the director of the Civil Cabinet, it also states that Cameroon has an unemployment rate of 3.9%.
Only 3.9%?
Yeah, the unemployment rate of Cameroon is 3.9%, and that the value-added tax is 19.25%.
Why should the value-added tax be so high like that in Cameroon like this? And then again, they talk about 3.9%
of unemployment rate.
Which is, anyway, I don't know. That's based on what? Which research? How did it come out with that?
From your own rough estimate, you are a professor who is working with a lot of students, and also you know more about the educational professional landscape of Cameroon.
Yeah.
Will you believe what you have?
No.
That? I'm not even talking about you carrying out research based on just observation.
No. Based on observation, it is wrong. It's a wrong figure. It cannot be true. Cameroon should be having at least about 30% unemployment rate. Or more. I say at least 30%.
Yeah, because from what we have here is 3.9%.
Let me talk about 39, at least 39%. We don't know.
No, it's 3.9. No, it's 3.9%. I'm actually reading here. It's 3.9% of unemployment rate.
That's 2021 World Bank statistics, I think. Or was it there?
And I'm talking about the press release. That was the press kit that was released.
I don't know.
Just recently, ahead of this visit.
From our observations, we know that even here in Douala, for example, you would notice it. That more than half the population of the world is unemployed. Who employs them? Who creates the jobs? Do we have a decent environment for job creation in Cameroon? Come on, in a country where taxes are too high.
And just to add, briefly, you know, of recent, we've never heard about the issue of crude oil production in Cameroon. And nobody knows about the percentage at the budget of crude oil. But from the document release, it shows that the crude oil production in Cameroon is 61.00% as of February.
Well, I don't know. Let me tell you one thing. I heard a story. Sometimes you go in 2003 in Germany, where we had a class with a German professor, and he was trying to give statistics on oil production in Africa, for example. And then he didn't say anything about Cameroon. When I raised my hand and asked him about Cameroon, the man's face was red. And he told me Cameroon is the only country in Africa that doesn't publish statistics of oil production. He didn't want to go further. Yes. Well, this time around, from what we are hearing now, it is difficult. It is difficult to believe. And well, I cannot say because I am not into that sector to maybe come out with a conclusion.
Okay, I'll be coming back to you, Prof. Nick Anu, I want us to also look at the bills. Who fought the bills? Before coming to the next round, I want to ask this question to everybody. Who fought this bill? Because we invited, from what it stated, that we invited the French president to Cameroon. So we take care of the security challenges, his movement, we take care of his Tah Mai Jarvis, we take care of the entire entourage, when he will be and when he will go out of the country. And when we look at the financial status of Cameroonians, Cameroonians are creeping and crawling in terms of putting food on their table.
They're barely living.
I think if you invite somebody, you foot the beast, and there are no two ways about it. A normal diplomatic relation is showing that we invited the French president, and so we're supposed to take care of whosoever is bringing along up to when he will leave. We are going to foot the beast, and in that communique, we don't know. We did not hear why the French president was invited. They just told us that the French president will be visiting Cameroon. No reason for his visit and so on. If it was really important, the French have an embassy in Cameroon. An embassy is supposed to take care of maybe the diplomatic or whatever concerns a particular country in every nation. A French president coming to Cameroon should have come by his own expenses, just like visiting any other nation. Not like you invite a French president. What is the purpose of his visit in Cameroon? We don't yet know. And it was not made public, except I'm mistaken. Up to now, I don't know why he's coming to Cameroon. But we know the backdoor relationship between the French and the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon, which is no news to Cameroonians. And at this point in time, where most Cameroonians' family can barely feed themselves, it is really a pity to be spending this amount of these billions to invite the French president, because you know that he's coming with his entire Tah Mai Jarvis. He's coming in the sense that other ministries will be involved. Other ministries will take it as an advantage to steal a lot of money, embezzle money.
Of course.
Because he will come, for example, with those in charge of education, health, and so on. And so they will take this advantage to say that they're holding meetings and so on. And you know, the end of the day, the kind of bills they will put concerning this kind of thing. We don't really see the visit of the French president as being important at this moment, where Cameroonians themselves are They are not united among themselves. We are currently fighting a war. Maybe we'll have seen the French president visit as a welcome something if it will have been stated that he's coming like a mediator, yeah, to maybe help us or show us a direction in how to solve the many problems we are plagued with in Cameroon at the moment. We are currently fighting a war, a senseless war for that matter, and we have political instability in the country. We have Boko Haram in the north and so on and so on, which many fingers are pointing at the French has been involved in all of those stuff.
Okay. I want to ask you the same question that I asked Professor, and the question I'm asking is that when we look at this aspect of the French president visiting Cameroon, and many of the opinion that he's coming at a time when the nation is divided, and also that why did it take so long for a census that was carried out in 2005, which we have not had a result, because normally you carry a census to update it at the National Gazette and to give standard population. Till date, it only took the French president to come 70 years after, for us to know that the population of Cameroon is 27.2 million.
That it was 27 point something million.
And it was.
It was.
Because you cannot be talking of...
because as of the time we said it was 18 million. Now the census was carried out. Till 70 years ago, we've not had the census result. It only took a French president for us to know the visit. To know that
it just shows you how the kind of leaders we have in Cameroon it means that they are not responsible to the Cameroonian people. I quite remember when that census was going on, I was still in secondary school. I think I was around Form 5 at that time when that census was going on. And I had some people participated in the census, and up to now, that the results, of course, we cannot validate per statistics those kind of results, because you cannot tell us that the population of Cameroon is 27 million. Now, is it the population that was in 2005, or is it the current population? Of course, it cannot be the current population of Cameroon being 27 million, because no statistics have been carried out this year or last year to say that the population of Cameroon now is 27 million. Or you cannot be, are they saying that the population of Cameroon is 18 million as per 2005 census? Which it just shows irresponsibility of governance. Because the census was financed by the Cameroonian people. It was not financed by anybody else. If a people finance a census to be carried out, because it takes billions to run a census in every nation, especially in Cameroon with the corruption we have. It takes billions to do that kind of exercise, and then you don't give account to the people for over 17 years. That's irresponsibility on the part of the government. And that is just add to the many irresponsibility or the irresponsible acts that the government has been performing. It doesn't need to take the French president coming to Cameroon for us to know the number of people in Cameroon. Talking about the unemployment rate, it is all of that kind of statistics cannot be. Even somebody in the quarter will tell you that that kind of statistics is false. 3% means that if there are 100 people, means that only 30 people, or let me say 10 people, means that only 3 people are unemployed, which is not the case in Cameroon. You can observe unemployment even where you live. You can observe people not working. A country that is unemployment rate is high or is low, you will not see people at 8 o'clock in the bar drinking. It means that they will have something doing. But in Cameroon, at 7 o'clock in the morning, you see people sitting in the bar drinking. It means that they don't have something to do. It means that they are unemployed.
And then there's one thing, it sounds very funny because our rate is far below the rate that we have in the US.
I'm telling you, yes. It's very funny.
Yes.
Those advanced countries don't have that kind of statistics.
Dr. Nkem says, happy Sunday to you, Dr. Nkem. We want to appreciate you following up the program. He says the figure of 3.9% unemployment is a huge in capital letter lie. That smells of bad faith. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your participation.
Of course, it's a huge lie. This unemployment rate in Cameroon, I'm not even talking about.
How do they define unemployment?
I'm telling you.
But could it be? A lot of people are coming out to the defense that it could be typo. But how
not
typo when we have professors, doctors who must have read the document?
No, excuse me, doctors, professors are not included in this mess. They will never be there. I want to say
it's political manipulation.
Yes, it's political manipulation.
Yeah, it cannot
professors cannot. There's no honest professor that can accept that kind of thing.
And the issue is
there's no way.
About statistics. We are talking about statistics.
Yes, Derrick, I'm coming to you because you are an economist.
Employment means that briefly, how many Cameroonians are affiliated to the social insurance? Because to be said that you are gainfully employed, you have to be affiliated to that. They are not talking about underemployment. Underemployment in Cameroon, which is still unemployment.
I'll be coming back to you. Hi, greetings to you all in the studio. I am enjoying the program. I think unemployment rate is above 39%. Mazwa from Chang. But the document released by the Director of Civil Cabinet and, of course, the Civil Cabinet ahead of this visit. Let me also look at it again. It is 3.9%. Son Derrick, you are an economist and someone who is good at figures. How true could this be?
Jarvis.
Is it typo?
I think Dr. Nick for texting, the word he spelled is huge bad faith. I want to think that if you want to, even by eye servicing, by just looking at the economy of Cameroon, you realize that the unemployment rate in Cameroon is above 40%. It's above 40%. Why do I say so? You will understand that a lot of people who are even employed in Cameroon are underemployed. Yeah. And mind you that underemployment is unemployment. Because when you work and you are underpaid, it means you are not using your full capacity. Yeah. And mind you that Cameroon too, being the fact that it is mostly counting the state as the #1 employer, it cannot work. Because every other country that survives from the private sector. And mind you that the environment, the business environment of Cameroon is not favorable. You talk about value-added tax being 19.25%.
Yes, the value-added tax.
19.25% means that in every 100,000, you have to pay 19,025 francs. You have to pay 19,000 plus as value-added tax. And company tax stands at 30% plus 10% council tax, which is 33.3%. So you cannot talk about unemployment rate in Cameroon being 3.9% when we count of the government as #1 employer in the country. Secondly, CDC, that used to be the second after the government, is no longer functioning. PAMOL is not functioning, and there is the political crisis going on in southern Cameroon that has shut down many schools, many businesses, and many growing businesses.
A lot of internally displaced persons.
A lot of IDPs, and you talk of unemployment rate. This is gross disrespect for Cameroonians, and I think the statisticians, whether it is typo, when such documents go public, they should be. I mean, it's a statistical problem that should have gone through a lot of statisticians. It is huge disrespect for Cameroonians. And aside that, Jarvis, you asked a question to Nick, my brother. I want to tell you something about the French president coming to Cameroon. When Mr. Francois Hollande landed in Cameroon in 2015, when he left, things got tougher. And I want to tell you that Mr. Macron coming to Cameroon is just to do checks and balances that Cameroon should not go the Burkinabe way. Cameroon should not go the Malian way. They want to say, please, are you still faithful students? Those are the questions they want to ask to Benin, Guinea, and Cameroon, to know if they are still faithful students to the system. Because you will not imagine that when Francois Hollande came here, he signed a lot of documents in about 8 hours. He signed a series of documents. Those documents does not help Cameroonians. It only condemns Cameroonians. And the slave masters, like I said, is only coming to check.
When you say slave master, can you say the French government?
Why will I generalize him to? He's only allow me to continue.
Yes. The French government is only coming to.
Okay. The French president, who is our slave, who doubles as a slave master of Cameroon and French African countries, is also coming to do checks and balances to make sure that Cameroon does not disrespect the way Mali is doing. And secondly, to check to see that the resources or the resources we have do not go to other countries. Remember, when the Wuri Bridge that was to be constructed, and the Chinese tendered in to do the construction. The Chinese gave their tender cheaper, and it was to be higher than what the French did. But this contract was given to the French, and the French in turn gave it back to the Chinese. So you see the way they control Africans as if they are just puppet. And Jarvis, you will bear with me that France has condemned Africa. France is a devil for Africa.
You cannot say France is devil, because I'll be reading some of the achievements that basically released by the Director of Civil Cabinet. Maybe you will have the time to react on those statistics.
I think when you read those achievements, I will have time.
Let me just go quickly on some of them, because you cannot say France is the devil to Africa when the same document released that key projects are implemented or ongoing with the French support. According to the document on page 20 of that document, it reads that the second bridge over the Wuri River, the construction of the second bridge over the Wuri River alleviated traffic congestion in the city of Douala Bridge has helped to strengthen the role of Douala as the country's economic capital, and that this bridge, the project started as of the 13th of July 2013 and was realized, of course, on the 13th of March 2017. The project was completed, and that project amounted to the sum of 150 million euro. And also that they also have a project that the second one was a Long Panga Dam hydropower project, which the French government also assisted Cameroon in having that project. And also when we look at this, we are talking about the aspect of the heavily indebted poor country initiative that the French government has helped. We're talking about also the Nguti Road and other roads across Cameroon. You cannot call the same person devils, can you? Looking at this project.
Yes, thank you very much for coming back. It is just a repetition. I'm telling you that same project you said, the construction of the second bridge, do you know that it was tendered by the Chinese, and France had to insist to get it, and then the Chinese still did the job? That's just bad faith. And if you are counting achievements of France, mind you that everything that France does to our African colonies is 8 with strings. Okay. France only gives out what they know they can get it 100-fold. How do you explain, Jarvis, that as we talk, as we are speaking, France happened to be one of the highest gold reserve center in Europe, but they have no gold mines or gold deposits? How do you explain that?
Miracle goes.
Of course, it explains to you that Mali, Burkina Faso, Congo, Cameroon, we are feeding them fat. Remember that France has nothing, but they hardly beg, because they have given out the strings. They try to help us in a way that we go back. We have to forever be indebted to them. We are using the French, the France CFA France, and before now, France was using the French franc, and the French CFA was pegged to the French franc. France has abandoned the French francs. He is not joined to the euro, and has to peg the CFA francs to euro, meaning that our contracts are negotiated by France in a very strong currency, and they pay us with a weaker currency. Yet we still owe them debt, whereas they are the ones who owe us, the Africans who owe us Cameroon, because they take contracts in a higher currency and pay us less. For instance, when we're pegged to the French franc, where it's 25 francs could be equivalent to 100 CFA francs, contracts are negotiated in the French franc, billions of CFA, and then we are paid billions of French francs, and then we are paid billions in CFA francs. It means they gain 75% before even Cameroonians who have to go.
We're coming back to you.
It is a criminal. It is an organized theft.
Greetings to you. Greetings to everyone in the studio. I am Alphonse, writing from Yaoundé. To my own opinion, the French president is coming. The French president is not a visit for the presidency, but for the CPDM party. Mr. Biya just used as a figurehead, but those running CPDM party are the ones who have organized this visit. Nothing concerned the ceremony will be seriously discussed, but their major talking point will be on politics. All these publications are just to make Cameroonians think that the French president and the government will talk about economic crisis, make them the wakalai. This one is coming from an anonymous sender. This one it says, happy Sunday to you all in the studio. The coming of the French president is a non-event. I don't see his visit well. I don't see his visit will change the current situation of Cameroon. Taxpayers' money is being used to invite someone whereas poverty is killing Cameroonians. This is coming from Barrister Sue, writing from Thailand. And this other read, it says, hello to you all in the studio and happy Sunday from your program. It's indeed interesting. I just wish to indicate here that one of your panelists kept using unfounded information, which is misleading. You can't say the visit of the president, French president to Cameroon. Other ministers will use it as an advantage to steal money. Sir, can this be proven? This is coming from Dr. Andy. This one read, it says, good afternoon to you all panelists. To me, the visit of the French to Cameroon is of no use, being that Emmanuel had the power to put an end to the Anglophone crisis, but haven't put any effort. DERICK Foka from newly out Fiango Kumba. Please, this other right, it says, we should know that if I send you to go get statistics, I am the one to release the result, not you. So the French president is correct and rightful person to release the result based on his French economic policies. Based on his French economic policies, just my view. Thanks. Please note that no matter how you are, just one sin will take you to hell. Thank you very much. It's coming from an anonymous sender. This one reads, happy Sunday to you all in the studio. The few unemployed Cameroonians are not able to cope with the salary placement because of the rise in price of basic needs, giving room of corruption, embezzlement, and it turns back to no reasonable employment. This is coming from Fabian in Bamenda. Mundi from Boya says, a real thief is not the one with guns. The French is the real... Thank you very much. This one reads, it says, greetings to you, Jarvis and all panelists. We all know why French president was invited, considering the fragile nature of power in Cameroon. He is invited to approve the new setup of power. As someone of your panelists said, the government is only accountable to the French and not the people. It's a shame that Cameroon is still picking the boot of France. Still picking the boot of France. This is coming from Mundi in Thailand. Professor Innocent, I want us now to look at this from a different angle. Is it constitutional for the French president to announce that he needs to have an audience with opposition members in Cameroon? And how constitutional or unconstitutional? And secondly, can President Biya go to France and have an audience with opposition members?
Well, I'm not actually a politician. I'm not a man of law, but I think that it is if it has to do with problem solving, for example, and then he's coming in now to say, well, you people have been fighting for so long, and I wish to have this meeting with you people in order to contribute to see how this problem in their country could be solved, in order to ensure that there's development and peace in their country, then I don't think that there's any problem. Yes, it is something to as well. The Cameroonian president can also do like that because we're a sovereign state too as well, and so I think we can do the same thing in France. But that is not the case in this our own situation in the moment, because it's like we have a president who thinks that he is not up to anything when the French president stands, and then selling the rights of the Cameroonians to the French people. And then back to the visit, let us not only think that maybe this man has been invited by the government of Cameroon because of some other reasons which might be against the people of Cameroon. Could be that the government of Cameroon wants to invite this French president and tell him to his face in this country that we are tired of your ways. We do not want to see you again.
Yes, because when we look at the fact that Bolloré is no longer in charge of the French authority, of the port authority, Bolloré is to control the Douala Seaport, and also we see that the same thing too is happening in Gabon, because the people in Equatorial Guinea don't want Bolloré to manage their railway, and also you come now to the level of the military accord. Cameroon recently had a military agreement with Russia, and Russia is a major rival with the French government, especially in Africa. And also, when we look at Sonara, rehabilitation of Sonara, and some projects, the Russians are getting ground, and the Chinese are getting ground. China and Russia are allied and against the French. So could he be coming to say, please, don't go the Malian way?
Exactly, because
they were inviting him in the first place that he want to come and tell you this. Was he really invited?
I do not know. Could be that the French government turned things otherwise.
Invited themselves and put it that they invited?
Exactly, because I do not think that our government is that insane. We have intellectuals in this government. I don't think they can go that way to sacrifice, but we are seeing things happening. Because just go to the port and see what's happening. A car, any car that is sent from Europe, the US for example, the cost of clearing the car has skyrocketed. Just a mud guard, you pay 2 million francs, probably because we want to raise money for this visit. But however, if the outcome of this visit is going to be in the interest of Cameroonian people, that's going to be right. But I also think that it is about time Cameroonians tell the French people, we do not want to see this kind of policy again. The 85% that we hear, France want to take 85% of our oil resources. We have just 15%. We have our oil given to us by the Creator. The French people are taking over the whole thing. We have only 15%. We want to tell them, I think the government should tell them, we are an independent state, a sovereign state. We do not want this kind of policies again. You either accept this, which is actually what perhaps the Russians, the Chinese are actually presenting to us, or you say no and you leave. That could be a way out.
Prof, a lot of people have written to us again about this percentage of unemployment, 3.9%. Again, I want you to really look at this. Statistically, you have examined a lot of PhD students. Can this be possible?
If you look at the students,
could we say it's a typo?
It is, I think...
of your reputation, well, you have had this kind of situation. Can we say a major document like this going out?
Let me tell you, year in, year out, thousands of students graduate. Just recently, we have graduate students now. The private universities are not like their graduate students. From bachelor degree, HND, up to the highest degree. Are we saying here that all of these people have been recruited or that they have jobs? The answer is a lie. The answer is no.
96.4%.
Yes. More than.
Which means that 96.
Yes.
Which
is not true.
96.4% Cameroonians have been recruited.
I'm saying
have jobs.
Well, most of my students that I trained here, for example, that left school about, say, some 5 years ago, they are still roaming the streets. They don't have a job. I think you understand that. And then some of them, again, you see that they are not even employed.
But maybe the government has given them a job, they don't come and tell you. No. Because when we look at these statistics, it means that all of them have been
Those
recruited.
that are employed, I know them because they always communicate. We have statistics of some of the students who are already employed. We have statistics of those who have created jobs and they're working the market. We have the statistics. And then you see that this statistic is quite very, very low compared to what we are seeing here. How can they even create jobs in a Cameroon like ours? Where we have taxes, big imposts, where do they even get the money?
Because I'm still shocked with the 3.9%. I had to look again and look again
I think that's an error. That should be an error.
But how justifiable is this error?
No, well, it could be maybe 93%. Somebody mistakenly typed 3.9. We do not know. Something
maybe,
it can happen.
Maybe they wanted to give us the employment rate. Because the employment rate.
Well, it could be the employment rate.
The employment
rate.
Yes, and the reverse. Yes.
I think you're right. It could be employment rate. You're totally correct.
Yes.
It could be employment rate.
That should be the employment rate.
Yes, it's a mistake. It's a mistake.
My problem is, how do we get that kind of mistake? Of which the first page of document, these are statistics, and we still have.
Jarvis, I think the error could be coming like maybe the government wanted to tell us that the employment rate of Cameroon is 3.9%, and then the unemployment fell there. Because if you tell us that the employment rate in Cameroon is 3.9%, we will agree with you definitely 100%.
So you are saying that you are saying that it was a typo?
No, it's a typo.
It should be an error.
And it's an error that we can forgive them, but knowing that we understand the system we work with, the people who hate truth, they do everything to mislead themselves.
So you are saying that this document was not proofread?
No, it was not if it was proofread, that's a very delicate error you're talking about. Yeah. This error can cause an uprising. You don't know that. to be telling people that the unemployment rate of a country is 3.9%. What is the unemployment rate? The unemployment rate of US. The unemployment rate of US when Macron, Donald Trump, he talked of 4%. It dropped to 3.8. Yes, they were honest enough to talk
Even
about
in France,
that.
I don't think it is 3.9%.
It means Cameroon has beaten the record there. Yeah. Cameroon has beaten France, beaten US, beaten Germany, beaten Australia. In fact, Australians and the US need to start coming to Cameroon to seek for jobs because we have.
These figures are not very good because those that may want to help Cameroon, they may say no, Cameroon, and then they even push us to the high income level, high income countries. And we will not. Let me tell you, Mr.
But we're talking about emergence.
Let me tell you, maybe there is something which is very clear about this. There are so many countries that will not even want to grant scholarships to Cameroonians because we are at this level.
Looking at those,
we are at 6.9%.
Exactly.
So there's no need for scholarship because
there's no need for them.
We are no longer in.
We are
the middle income or probably the first.
We are middle income country.
You wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to quickly react to a question you asked, Prof. here. Whether the coming of the president is constitutional.
Yeah, we're coming to you. Yes. No, we're coming to you on that. I want to ask. No, I want to look at whether he meeting opposition members because they say he will meet with some opposition members. Yes, they said he was going to meet 3 key opposition members: Chairman John Fundi of the Social Democratic Front, the Cabral leader of the PNCRN, and of course Professor Maurice Kamto of the Cameroonians movement. I will come to you to ask you that. Okay. Nick Anu, is it constitutional for him to meet, or you still want to talk about the employment issue, the figures?
No, just go to.
I don't want to talk about
that. Is it constitutional?
We know there's a farce in a way.
It can be. It's not really a matter of constitutionality or not. It's a matter of diplomacy. A president can visit a country and then decide to meet with the opposition of that country to maybe discuss with them. I don't see anything really bad in that. But it depends, or it will now depend on the subject of discussion, what they discuss, whether it is in our own interest or it is in the interest of the French, meeting the opposition in Cameroon. Because meeting somebody like Professor Maurice Kamto, we heard Macron himself on camera saying that he ordered for his release. So we can maybe doubt his meeting with the French president in Cameroon. In fact, without those kind of meetings, if it is in the interest of Cameroonian, then no problem. But exactly. Yeah, they did not really discuss the agenda of those meetings, and without whether maybe after those meetings, they will be able to meet the press and then tell us what they discussed with the French, whether they discuss the interests of Cameroonians with those meetings. Because to me, it is an opportunity for those political party leaders to discuss the many pressing issues or to discuss the plight of Cameroonians that the government maybe is not able to talk openly to the French. For example, the Anglophone crisis, Fundi, Kamto, and Cabral Libi, they can openly tell the French that no, this is what is happening. Maybe the CPDM government cannot openly say this to you, but this is what we want, and so on and so forth. This is the kind of meeting that will be of interest to us. Any other meeting behind the camera will not be of interest to Cameroonians.
And then again, I think, just 1 minute please. It would also be better to also invite somebody who can talk to the Anglophones and they will listen. Because most of these guys...
But Prof, we've had that now. We had the visit of the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. We had Commonwealth. We had of Patricia Scotland. We had the Francophonie. We had Moussa Faki of the African Union. We've had the visit of other top officials. The only person that has not come is the Pope. Since this crisis started, the only person that has not come is the Pope, and the only another person that has not come physically is Jesus.
Oh my God!
So who else should they invite? If we had the
was it not necessary for him to even invite Saziko Ayo, who is in prison, to come and talk to that man?
Let me take this message for coming to you someday. Maybe there may be a message that can add to the question I want to ask you. This one says, I want to say happy Sunday to you in Moya, all those of you watching us in Moya, especially Alege, happy Sunday to you. Also, Mr. Leopold Nang, happy Sunday to you. Good afternoon, everyone in the studio. Is Crystalline from Moya. Cameroon, the street like bong bong, like boni boni for okra. Cameroon, the street like boni boni for okra in Kwang. Oroko Enkwang, Cameroon is like Boniboni for Oroko Enkwang. That is why the French can't stop having a taste of it. This other right, it says, hello, good afternoon to you on the studio. Happy Sunday. I am Omega from Yaoundé. I'm enjoying your program. The unemployment rate given by the government is nothing but a political manipulation, very big lie. We know that the level of unemployment in our country is in our country is it's a political game. In fact, they are trying to tell us Cameroon is close to full employment because the country with an unemployment rate of 2% is considered full employment. The French president coming to Cameroon, neo-colonialism is detrimental to our economy. This other one says, good afternoon, Jarvis. Panelists, great job you guys are doing over there. During the colonial era, there was a French colonialist called Lord Albert Sarand who introduced a policy known as les mises en valeur. The aim of this policy was to exploit Africans to the advantage of the French. The aim of Macron's visit to Cameroon for expansion and maintain the economic policy. Happy Sunday to you all in the studio. The French president is just coming to tell Biya how to rule Cameroon because Biya is just a figurehead and to see into it that the French interest is protected. Innocent Barouzi Bonaberry. Happy Sunday to you. Greeting to my namesake, Professor Innocent. Okay, he has said you. Good day, Jarvis. Nothing French does that is not having string. The French are Tiku Felix. Sir, do you know how much money is in our foreign reserve there in the French treasury unaccounted for? Do you know that they use our money in their treasury to give us loan and aid and we pay interest in wow. French is never having anything good out of the so-called gesture. The name forsake aid. Like one of the panelists said, La France est le vrai diable. Tiku Felix. Tiku Felix, thank you, sir, for your message. Message is well gotten. I want to say happy Sunday to you, sir. Max from Germany writes, the president has been received by the French president in Lyon. Last time they met in France. The upcoming visit of the French president may be useful in both presidents and if both presidents spend 2 days in Bamenda.
Yeah, that is good. This meeting would have been there.
How constitutional or unconstitutional is it for him to actually talk to opposition leaders in the country? And can President Biya go to France and say you want to meet Marine Le Pen and all these other opposition leaders to talk to them?
Yeah, thank you very much. But Jarvis, I beg to say I will not approach the question the way you might want it. But mind you that what is happening, we cannot talk about constitution. Because even meeting the president of other countries is not about the constitution, it's diplomacy. Mm-hmm. So what the French president is doing is what is termed diplomacy. It's okay for him to meet whosoever he wants to meet. But if at all he wants to meet Professor Maurice Kamto, the Nijan Fundis, to talk about the Anglophone war or the Anglophone crisis,
The current political situation
yes,
in the country.
I think it would be necessary, like one of the participants said, that he should spend some time
in Bamenda.
And of course, they should be able to get the results from the horse's mouth. Because
exactly,
you have just given a litany of people who have visited the country and ended in Yaoundé. But for, is it Scotland who went to Boya or something like that?
The Commonwealth.
Yes, for Commonwealth. But a lot of them have ended in Yaoundé. And if Macron, President Macron is coming to Cameroon to talk about the Anglophone crisis, it is a mockery to our face. It is an insult to our face, because we had seen when the crisis was at its peak, when people were being killed on the streets every day, every other day, people were dying. He did not make a statement. Today, when we're even receiving, you can stay for some time without gunshots. If he's coming because of the crisis, then he is just mocking us that, okay, you guys have died to the required number that we wanted, and I want to come and give a word. But I have a problem, because Jarvis, if you and I think that Macron is coming to Cameroon for political gains, that's a fat lie, because Cameroon is not a political teacher to France. France does not have anything politically to gain with Cameroon.
But there was a minister that said Cameroon democracy is so advanced that we can start exporting them to France, Germany, US.
If you think that because the communique stated that he's coming from some social whatever, if we think that President Macron is coming because of social relationship, it's a scam. There is only one reason that the president of France is visiting Cameroon. It is for economic reason. It is for economic benefits. And this economic reason will not benefit Cameroon per se. Mind you that China is already invading Africa seriously. Russia, that was sleeping, has gotten up from sleep and is invading Africa. And France is beginning to think that if I allow China go through, if I allow Russia go through, I will lose my grip. And Mali has sent the warning signal. Burkina Faso, the Assimi Goitas, they have sent a warning signal. And Macron needs to make sure that the student in Cameroon does not follow that example. Because it's a very bad example for France, for Cameroon to follow. He wants to make sure that the student in Guinea does not follow that example, or the one in Benin.
And of course,
so he needs, yes, and he has already lost grip with Central African Republic. That one is a fact. And so you will bear with me that the way that France is facing economic hit, they need to start cementing, because they are gradually losing the grip on Africans. And the riches that France can count, there is no riches that France can count that comes from France. Today we are talking about Total. I'm sure Total is owned by a French company. Yeah, Total.
It's a French company.
Do they have reserves? Do they have reserves for that?
No.
But they are owned. They take it from African countries and then they sell it back to us, even double the prices. So economically, I will tell you that there is only one reason that President Macron will be visiting Cameroon, something bigger than the cricket. It's in the cricket's hole. So the cricket wants to
because before then, let me just add, you continue briefly. Before then, there have been series of visits by the ambassador, the French ambassador to the Unity Palace, and seemingly nothing seems to have changed. Bolloré is still out. We are looking at rehabilitation of Sonoras. They are left out. Yes. Cameroon recently signed a military accord despite French sanction on Russia. Yes. Russia signed a military accord.
That's why, Jarvis, I'm telling you that if Macron was visiting Cameroon for political or social reasons, it's a lie. They are visiting Cameroon because of economic blow. There have been an economic blow that has been given on France.
But he's not the one visiting, he has been invited.
He has been invited. This thing like this is still diplomatic, is still another diplomacy.
So are you saying that he's coming to beg? And he's coming to apologize?
To apologize? What? If France is still apologizing to us, we have seen how they have started giving, going back with the artifacts. How some of them have started returning artifacts. But they return the artifacts without bringing us the money that those artifacts have been working in their museums out of the country. There is no accountability. So if France, even when France is coming to apologize, that apology has a string attached. But let us not all be prophets of doom. If our pressmen, which I should be talking to you, because the last time when Francois came here, they asked very horrible questions to the president of Cameroon, and he was intimidated. But if our pressmen can take up the baton and stand in front of Macron to ask why they are dehumanizing Africans, why they are maltreating Cameroonians, and why they have taken Africans, especially French African countries, as their slave. If our pressmen can ask them why they don't want to leave Africa alone, then it's going to help us. So, okay. Jarvis, it will be an opportunity for you people to salvage us from this mess, because you have the microphone, you have the people's voice, and you have the agenda to speak the truth to the public.
But the key question is this: we want to ask here: what is it that Cameroonians? What's the problem we cannot solve that we want, but the French government, the French president, to come and solve for us here? And then again, in the second place, I would like to also suggest something here, Mr. Jarvis. We should not be looking at this thing from a negative point of view only. Let's also try to see exactly what Fronde and Maurice Kamto should be telling the French government when he comes here. What should they be telling the French government?
But why?
What Cameroonians are thinking
should they expect them to French come and solve a Cameroon problem where Cameroon is a sovereign nation?
That is it. I just asked that question.
We're a sovereign nation. We're independent.
Maybe he is coming in now as a peace broker. We see him as a peace broker. The government of Cameroon sees him as a peace broker, and then they want to bring him. And then they take someone who is having a clean and clear image with the Cameroonian people, like Maurice Kamto, and then a one-time very good guy too as well, like John Fronde. Well, Fronde might still be a very good guy because he used to be a very good guy long ago. Yes. So what should we be telling? What should they be telling the French government?
Okay.
Yes, the voice of the Cameroonian people.
Okay.
I think the people listening to us should be talking.
Okay, I'll be coming back to that. So, greetings to you, to everyone in the studio. Appreciation for all what you do to educate Cameroonians. The unemployment situation with regard to the statistics show that Cameroon is far better than France itself, which is about 7.2% of unemployment rate. It's a big error. Yeah, based on this, it shows that the French president needs to invite Cameroon's president to come based on the employment rate, so we can give them lectures as far as solving an unemployment situation is concerned. Good afternoon, everyone in the House. The House of Commons, we should not keep on blaming the French government. Our government is the one killing us because businesses were destroyed in Tongolo, Yaoundé because of Emmanuel Macron's visit. Mr. Yannick Noir, the political agenda of Cameroon is to save their master. We should rather build our economy. Cameroon should stop telling lies. This is Mezu Leonard writing from Yaoundé. Hi Jarvis, greetings to you once more. If the French president wants to talk with Fundi and Kamto, he can because they are Cameroonian, Cameroonian leaders. This has nothing to do with constitution. I think their opinion matters. Jarvis, I wish that you cover the visit live and ask the pertinent questions to the French president. When will our journalists start standing on the ethics of their profession and to bring light issues like this than wasting our time talking about past events? This other one, right? It says, good afternoon, Jarvis, to you in the studio. It's Stefan from Yaoundé. If Macron's visit in Cameroon can lead to talk that will bring peace to the troubled zones, then his stay will create much impact in Cameroon. This other one writes, happy Sunday to you all. The French president is coming to Cameroon to prepare the way for the upcoming of Frank Biya as the future president of Cameroon. This is Job from Yaoundé. This one, right, it says, good afternoon. I think that the statistics with regard to this, to the family members of the minister, governors, and other politicians is not Cameroonian. This is coming from Monta from Yaoundé. Thank you very much, Monta. Meteran, right, it says, good afternoon. I think any Cameroonian in the right sense will have interest in Macron's visit because he is just coming to prepare. The political atmosphere for the next. Thank you very much. Now I cannot read that word now. The word you wrote. Good afternoon, Jarvis. Sir, my regards to everyone in your program. The visit of the French president Cameroon is very bad faith and more gains for the French. Thank you very much. Hello, happy Sunday to you all. Excited with the coming of the French president. The people. The unemployment rate can never be satiated because those old ones in power pocket money in their wardrobes, while even their own grandchildren, Macron is coming because he has been begged by the number one statement to show the world that Cameroon still have there's some words, please, when you use those words down, it's unethical for me to read it. Good afternoon in the studio. The highest problem is selfishness. There's money in the country, but money is not circulating. Unemployment, self-unemployment, unemployment force. Thank you very much, Tawa from Yaoundé. Nick, what will you have to tell the French president as balance sheet? I know the French government is watching this program because they have diplomatic missions. And before any state visit, their official, we have members that watch local media to know the atmosphere such that they can give the French, the president information as to the background prior to his visit. It's normal from a communication perspective. Now they are watching. What do you have to tell them, Mr. Emmanuel Macron?
Yeah, the only thing I can tell Macron and the French people is that they should not be acting like in the 1884 model or 1884 colonial model towards African states, because the French and the French president, they are still looking at Africa from that perspective. They are still looking as if the world is on a standstill and only them can dictate their pace to the rest of us. They don't see that the world is changing. They don't see the dynamics of political evolution. I think they are still in that slumber. They should wake up. And I think Mali is a good example for them. Mali, Central African Republic, is a good example for them to learn from. They have totally lost grip of those nations to the Russians. And as times go on, many of these African nations, there's this reawakening. There's this anti-French sentiment arising within the young African population, especially within the French African territory within Africa. This great French anti-sentiment. We are against French culture. French culture is not really the best culture. If it was really the best, we would love it. You cannot impose your culture on the people, a culture of force, a culture of impunity corruption. On people, corruption and so on, and expect them to be happy all the time. There will come a time when the French will totally lose grip on Africa. So it is but wise for them to begin to renegotiate most of their backdoor deals they signed in the so-called independent days they gave us. It is the right time for them to renegotiate this deal into a win-win cooperation, because the models the Chinese and the Russians are using, like, it's a win-win cooperation. You win, I win, even though the percentage of gaining may not be the same. But the French, they just impose, they want to gain 100%, they impose on you what they want, and that's how it's supposed to be. I think that era has passed. And the French, if they don't re-strategize or rechange their relationship with the African state, they will totally lose the whole of French Africa. If you see, like in Central African Republic, they are already teaching the Russian language in their university, meaning that French is giving way into a new culture. Because the way now is about culture. The French culture is obsolete. So they should not be trying to promote their culture into their French, in their French colonies and the rest. Okay. They should know that the way has changed, the dynamics of politics is changing, the dynamics of international relations are changing, and they should follow these dynamics and don't think that we're seeing the 18th century now.
So, Derrick, if you were, Macron is watching you, the French people are watching you, and Nijon Fundi, Cabral B, and of course, Maurice Kamto, what is it that you would tell them to tell the French president, and what is it that you would tell the French president yourself as balance sheet?
Thank you very much, Jarvis, for that opportunity. If I'm giving the
you are talking to them now because they have missions that are watching
the opportunity to talk to the French president. The first thing first is, why have you decided that Africa must be accountable to you? On the second note, I am going to tell him to leave Africa alone. Even Africa,
we are talking to him now.
A beggarly country, leave Africa alone. Then for those like Mr. Nijon Fundi and Professor Kamto, who can be representing and talking on behalf of the people, it is good you speak the truth. But to me, the truth will be relative, because we have to solve our problem. Because I know that France cannot want to solve a problem that they don't have interest in. They must have a bigger interest in order to come in for the problem. So, most of the guns Where are the guns coming from? In our streets. We are getting the jihadis, the movements, the anti-republican movements. Most of them, we know, majority are sponsored by the French, because we know that Africans don't manufacture guns. So stop selling us the guns, leave Africa alone, and then let African presidents be prepared to dissociate from the French government, especially what has been called the they call it the Francafrique.
France Africa.
Yes, French Africa. Africa, they call it, in those days, they used to call it France Outre-mer or whatever like that. That's France overseas. So France should leave Africa alone. And then Africa need to seize her own independence. We have seen new banknotes circulating on social media that day. Unfortunately, I still saw 1,000 francs. Then I thought that it was going to be maybe 1,000 Afrique. Yes, I thought it was going to be 1,000 Afrique or 1,000 a certain currency for Africa, because that same France CFA will be pegged to euro and will have no value. So please, Africans, I think I should not even be advising Macron. I should be advising Africans and African president that it is time for us to hold the Africa Pan-Africanism by ourselves. It is time for us to develop Africa by ourselves. And if we come together, it is very funny to understand that civilization started in Africa. And today Africa is begging civilization. Let us go back to the drawing board to ask what went wrong and then start rebuilding Africa. And mind you, Jarvis, it is only the African solution that can better solve the African problem.
Happy Sunday, Mr. Jarvis. Technically, the French president meeting opposition leaders is to see if there are opposition leaders within them that can rule Cameroon and guarantee the interests of the French government. This is Ernest from Dubai. Thank you very much, Ernest from Dubai. Good afternoon, Jarvis. I think this is something vital that is hidden about his coming. There's something vital that is hidden about his coming. It's coming from Clovis in Bamenda. Happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Happy Sunday to you people in the group. Stop wasting your time. Cameroon will never change. Elvis writing from Yaoundé. Elvis, we are not wasting our time, because if we're wasting our time, we will not have commented. Prof.
Yes.
Your message to Emmanuel Macron.
That is very, very important. Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis. The first thing that I would like to tell President Macron is that he should put on that from now hence, he should stop sponsoring dictators in Africa who are going to serve their interest. Instead, he should try to train them on how to develop their own countries and develop the people to solve the socio-economic problems that we are facing. The second thing is that Anglophone lives do matter. When French troops are sent, French weapons and the like, they go, they destroy homes, destroy people in the northwest and southwest regions. It is so sad. We are human beings and we have the right to live. If they cannot treat us with that integrity and dignity that we deserve, then they are not our partners. And then the third thing is to plead. I would like to say here that there's a need now for an Anglophone to rule Cameroon. Because for over the years, more than half a century, we have seen a lot of the presidency have been occupied by the Francophones, and development has been totally stagnated, totally. And then again now, my advice to those that might be meeting Macron, that is the political leaders, to Professor Maurice Kamto, I know that he is a man of the people. He's like the Frundi of those days. And then to Frundi, I would like to let him know, I would like to advise him to think, to revisit those olden days. When he started democracy in Cameroon, many people lost their lives. You should think about those who are in their graves now mourning. You should think of those who had had arms amputated. I suffered personally to carry ballot boxes from left to right because of SDF. So it is about time for you to think about it. Think of the suffering people too as well. Think of the Anglophones, and then come up with a solid stand. However, if Macron must have an objective that he wants somebody that will have to succeed Paul Biya and then work in the interest of France, he could accept it. And then, in power, they could use the Cameroonian people to fight France. We can't do that. Because this government, like this, for example, it has a lot of problems because of the fact that they do not think that Cameroonians can stand up as one person like the Malians did to fight the French government. We can stand to support this government. If Paul Biya stands and says no to France, we the Cameroonian people, even the oldest of the oldest, they will stand up and they will support this government to fight France in the interest of Cameroon.
Okay. France is finished after Russia-Ukraine war. Good day, Jarvis. Take note that Macron will not meet with any political leader except for Biya Collins from Germany. And also, this one reads, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. We are seemingly out of time. Thank you very much, Professor, for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis. I'm so happy to have participated in this program today. And I hope that those who are listening to us, especially the political leaders, and also those of the French government too, they have listened to us and have a message to carry home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick Anu, for coming.
Thank you, Jarvis. The last thing we can say is that it is high time the visit of the French president should rekindle the hope of Cameroon returning to a two-state federation, because we know from history that they are the ones who keyed that two-state federation. It is high time the Frondis and the Camto and the Cabral Libis who are meeting Macron. This should be a high point of the agenda of their meeting. I think it should be.
We're out of time.
Yeah, no, we're out of time. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, Jarvis, for the opportunity, and thank to the million viewers of House of Commons. We appreciate the voice that you've given us all the time. And for people to publish statistics that Cameroon has unemployment rate of 3.9% is gross disrespect, because Spain has 13.3, Greece 12 point, Italy 8 point. Even the France that we are under, they have at least 7.2%.
But
So
they should invite President.
Yes,
they should teach them how to
they should, because like seriously, that can really create uproar to the people who think that they are suffering and those giving the statistics, or perhaps that statistics is given as per their family members. Happy Sunday to all Cameroonians, and of course, no matter what stance, we stand to speak the truth, and we will speak the truth without ever blinking.
Happy Sunday to you, Mr. IEC from Yaoundé, and those of you watching us. In case you want to be part of our program, you want to participate on the program House of Commons, write me on the numbers on your screen. I will include you in our WhatsApp group, where we always share the topics that we discuss every Sunday. And when we share the topic, if it is of your interest, you can come and participate on the program. Our office is at Fengu John Bangeye in Kotobo Namusadi. I leave you with this: no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter this day is that you should know that, according to statistics from the Director of Civil Cabinet, that we have 3.9% unemployment rate. How true is that? It is left for you to find out. My name is Tah Mai Jarvis. Bye-bye from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala.